Hi folks, Matt Easton here, Scholagladiatoria. So, very simple point. A number of people, whenever I put firearms related videos up, say, "Oh Matt, don't let this become a firearms channel." First of all, I want to assure you that whilst I am interested in historical firearms and do talk about historical firearms and do shoot them, I will therefore talk about them. This is not going to become a firearms centric channel. Do not panic, do not worry. My main focus has always been and will continue to be the history of close combat, historical close combat. But we have to accept that these are a part of history. If we're looking at military history and the history of weapons and warfare, then we have to talk about these. I very rarely talk about anything after the First World War. Usually I'm talking about the 19th century or the Middle Ages or some other historical period before 1900. And so these are a part of that, and really if I'm going to talk about these, then I have to talk about these as well, because it's all about context. There we go. And the context of sabres and bayonets very much fits with the same context that revolvers and pistols and carbines and rifles and muskets and these things work with as well. Just the same as if I'm talking about things like this, if I'm talking about medieval armour, or if I'm talking about medieval swords, then very clearly I'm probably at some point also going to talk about bows and crossbows. It is no different. So this is never going to be a firearms centric channel. However, I do shoot historical firearms, I do collect them, and they are very much part of the context of my main interest, which is 19th century warfare. And if you're going to look at swords and bayonets and lances, you have to also look at the firearms, because they affect each other, and the use of swords, how they were used, and their popularity, and even their design comes down to a relationship with the firearms of the time, and how those firearms, how effective they were, you know, how much range they had, what their rate of fire was, how reliable they were, all of these kind of things, how much ammunition they could carry and how quickly they could be reloaded, these kind of things. So they're all interrelated things. If you're not interested in firearms, I'm very sorry, but it is part of the context, and certainly if I'm talking about sabres, I have to talk about revolvers and stuff as well. Okay, but nevertheless, I am of course going to continue talking about the medieval and ancient periods and the so-called Dark Ages, and indeed even, you know, the 18th century and other periods as well, which I don't cover so much, it has to be said, but I will continue talking about those things to some degree. Cheers folks! Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow us on Facebook, you can buy t-shirts through Spreadshirt, support us on Patreon, or follow us on Pinterest. Thank you.